Welcome to today's LEA information session for special education. Today is August 5th, 2025. You should be able to see on your screen the cover slide for today's meeting. Hopefully you can hear me. All right, let me get myself situated. Okay. So today's agenda, as I sent out through the listserv yesterday, includes Jody Jones from Disability Rights, who's going to be talking to us about a disability and employment workshop opportunity. Albert Roman from our office is going to be talking to us about our new dashboard. Katie Heiss has Ed Plan updates for us. And then we have SC Teams updates from Deanna Parrish for Ask, Melissa Griffin for Skippy, and Aubrey Deppa for Basque. So Jody Jones, if you would like to unmute and turn your camera on, would welcome, love to have you join us. I may have started too fast. It's only 3:02. Look in the chat.
Sarah, if you need me to go, I'm
Yep.
ready.
Okay, Katie, why don't you go ahead then, and we'll come back around to her. Oops. Go ahead, Katie. There we go.
All right, good afternoon, everyone. I am back with some EdPlan SC updates. I saw some of you this morning on our AR session, so that went really well. I felt like I'm getting the hang of AR a little more and more each time I work with it. So moving on to the first slide, we are going to talk about data integration. Finally, we have the trifecta: parent, student, user files. They are coming over. All three of them are coming over. They're coming over automatically every night. As long as your district is publishing every night, you will be seeing those updates daily, which is great. I know that's a sigh of relief for a lot of you. There are a couple districts that are still having some issues or having like 37% of their student enrollment is coming over, not what we'd be seeing at 100%. So we're still working with those districts. If you are seeing individual issues for users or students, if you will go ahead and put in a Zendesk ticket or work with your district's person for IT to get that resolved. All right, and then exited students. So the students that have graduated or exited, have left, they are still in your system. They are still, I know they're tearing up your compliance when you're trying to look and see who has overdue things, because they might be showing up as overdue. We are working on getting them out. Our Power School team at SCD is working on that this week. My hope is that we will see these students finally released or removed from your sites by middle of next week. That's the intended goal date, but I will confirm as we're seeing the progress happen what that's going to look like. Last year, we were able to just exit them all at once everyone rolled over their Power School. This year is different because we're using that data for Table 4. And so you don't want to go manually remove them, just leave them in there, let them sit there for a little bit longer. They are working on getting them out. There was something with the exit reason not coming over with the Power School data when it rolled over. And so they're looking at, I don't know, re-rolling it so it comes back over this time. All right, next slide, Sarah. SSO, okay. I know I keep saying it's coming, but it is, and it still is. So 22 districts are currently utilizing SSO with the new SC Learn State Link, and the current status for those districts not using it. We are testing the connection that's happening this week. If that works out well and it happens, the connection is made, we will move on with working with districts to get a go live date. So we'll schedule a go live date. We just don't want people waking up one morning and they don't know where to log into. So again, this is why it's been slow rolled. Also, I want to make sure everything's working before people don't have access. So making sure those 22 districts that were currently on it are stable moving forward, that it's working for them before we try to load up another 60, and then there's more issues. And so making sure we're not having this disruption in our access is very important to me, as well as I'm sure important to you all. So bear with me on this. So what will happen is we'll schedule that go live date. And then after we've scheduled that, ClassLink will push this icon out to at what we call SC Learn State Link. And then PCG is going to receive an updated file from SCDE for the users. It will change them from a local to open source account. And then the night before your district goes live, that file will be ran instead. And then the user profile will be updated from local account to Open Connect ID. So Sarah, the change wasn't made in this slide, so we just want to make sure before we send this out again, if we can update it so the language is correct, but it's not open source, it's Open Connect.
Okay.
Any questions about SSO, let me know. I have a few districts that are working with me on having some users that are going to testing. The testing is going to be done all through impersonation, so it'll be a little bit different. No one will have to do anything for it. It's all on the back end of it, but it is coming. We are working on it. Like I said, I just want to make sure that it is 100% a go before we start logging in there and then having users not being able to access. All right, next slide. Historical documentation, I covered this in office hours, and I wanted to bring it here before I sent out the email as well. So we have a large amount of files. We finally were able to get that data migration that we were trying to do from Enrich to EdPlan. So we have a set of files. These files are Enrich generated historical documents, PDFs that were in your systems prior to launch of EdPlan. And when I say Enrich generated, they do not include attachments. So there's not going to be, anything you uploaded outside evals, acknowledgement forms for receipt of accommodations, things like that will not be in there, signature pages. It's just those Enrich generated documents. And so we want to make them available to districts who would like them. I'm going to be sending out an email. Within that email, there's going to be a link to a FormStack form where districts can indicate yes or no, they want the files. If you don't want them, if you could please fill out the form too, because that'll help me track. Like if you don't want them, then I know we're not waiting for you to make a decision. I know that you're not going to take them. But before you fill this out, when you get the link, before you fill it out, it's very vital that you talk to your IT department. The form is going to ask you to include a contact from me from the SPED side and an IT person that's going to be overseeing the process of getting the files. So it's not just, I'm not sure how this is going to look yet with the files. It's a large amount of files, and it's a large file. And so making sure that, we're transferring it safely, what that's going to look like, because it might look like some kind of flash drive, right? So we'll work out the details with your district individually if your district decides that they want to get the files. With that said, October 31st, if you can let us know by Friday, October 31st on Halloween, whether or not you want the files. We are planning on getting rid of the files, purging the files at the end of the calendar year. Okay. So any questions about that, just let me know. Go ahead, Sarah. It will be right now. It's a free cost to get the files. We're not doing anything with them. So when you get the files, they'll just be like on I'm going to say they're on a flash drive. I don't know how they're going to come yet because we're talking about like how it would be transfer that large amount of data. I'm not a data person, but With that, we've talked about, whether it's on a flash drive, then you could put that on your server, you would house it somewhere, you would store it in a safe, but you would have those documents. So there is no cost to the districts. We just have these files. We need to know if we want them, or do you? I'd like to know either way. So in the link, you'll just say yes or no. You'll say who you are, filling it out, and then I'll know. And that way I can track that you did say no, because I don't want to be waiting and say, okay, I think we're done with this project, and then I have 3 districts who just haven't responded. So I want to make sure, because what I'll do is I'll follow up before the 31st to say, hey, I haven't seen anything. I want to make sure you want these or not. So I don't want anybody to miss out on it, on getting the files because they didn't fill out the form. All right, Sarah, next slide. Oh, no, not next slide. I didn't talk about this yet. So ticket submission permission. So the user type power user is no longer going to have the right to submit tickets as part of its user type. We're pulling that from the power user, which means that you can have additional power users if you want them. So the way this works is we have 300 ticket agents spots available in our contract, right? And so we took that number, it's kind of like paperclip. We took that number, we divided it by, child count, and everybody got so many. And so the ticket permission is what I'll be tracking now, not so much the power user. So what I need, and I only have a handful of districts left that I'm working with today to get this information from, but Friday, so Thursday night, this will be switched out. So Friday, August 8th is when this will happen now. It was the 1st, but we had some issues arise. So the only change that you will see if you are a power user currently and you're not going to be a ticket submitter, the only thing that you will not see, I should say, is you won't see the envelope in your upper right hand corner anymore, because you won't have the permissions to submit the ticket. If you need to update your ticket submission permissions, you're going to submit that in Zendesk. Zendesk is going to assign it to me, and I'm going to approve it because I'm calculating the 300. I'm making sure that we don't go over the contract. If you need to update your power users, you can email me, tell me who, and I'll go into your system and I'll update that information for you. Monica, no, I don't have an update for that. The one that's going to be, so like there's going to be, I've talked to some of the districts about it that are having an issue where they need Medicaid and they're a power user. So like Monica, who wears, dual hats in her district, there's going to be a new user type for that, specific when you have all these add-on programs, but you need to be a power user on the SPED side. It's coming. I believe they told me by the end of this week, but I will let you know as soon as I have that information. And I have a list of who needs to be changed over, and I'll be contacting them. Next slide, Sarah. This is just power user training. We're filling up pretty quickly. So information about that, if you haven't registered and you want to attend. Next slide. These are going to be all training slides. So we had our AR today, that went really well. These are the 3 webinars that are going to be tomorrow. This is the first one. Again, if you don't register for these things, all of these links will be available to watch. I already have the AR one just got sent to me a little while ago. I just need to send it out. So they already have the link available for our meeting this morning. So as soon as I can, I'll push that out, and then those other ones will be posted on the dashboard. And then additional webinars for school administrators and evaluators. That information is there. And go ahead to the next one. Oh, community stakeholder. That session is August 14th. So that is next week in person. And then there's a virtual one on September 16th.
Hi, Jody's here.
And then virtual office hours. The next one is August 21st. Information about that. And then the district feedback form. So if you're wanting to make a change in the system, you have a request for an AR report, items you want to see on the agenda for office hours, you would put that here. And I'm going to say this to say, if it's an emergency, do not put it in the form. Again, subject line, please help, SOS, SOS, SSO, SSO, SO. So just put it in the subject line so I know that, please, Katie, I need help right away. Because if you put it in here, I may not look at it right away. I don't look at this. This is not something I look at daily. This is more of a like, okay, I'm getting ready for office hours. Okay, I'm getting ready to run reports and see what people need. All right, and that's my last slide, I believe, Sarah. Any questions? I know there's a lot going on. I appreciate everyone's patience as we worked out all of the PowerSchool issues that we were having at the beginning of the year. Kelly, it's August 21st. And I did send out, and I'll send it out again. I sent out a sheet that's got all the office hour dates and links. So if I don't see any other questions, you know where to find me. I hope everyone has a great rest of the day.
Yep. Thank you. Thank you, Katie. We did hear from our presenter, Jody Jones from Disability Rights, and she was having trouble getting into Teams.
She's in Teams now, Sarah, if you want to go back to her slides.
Oh, good. Yes, that's great. Thank you. Probably could have done that a little more gracefully. Okay, Jody, welcome to the Office of Special Education Services. Thank you for joining us. Let's see. Not sure if I can find her on my.
Yeah. Jody, you're on mute there.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yep, we got
Now
you.
we can.
Okay.
Yep.
I was muted and I didn't have the controls for a minute. Thank you for having me. Sorry about the delay.
Yeah, we're glad to have you here. So we're glad you're going to talk to us today about a workshop that you have available for individuals with disabilities.
Yes, thank you. So I'm an advocate and I work with Disability Rights South Carolina, and we are partnering with ABLE South Carolina on what we call the Disability Employment Coalition. And we are doing this series of benefits workshops. And the one that we have coming up here in August will be tailored for students, transition age youth. And we would love to have all your students be invited to this. And we are assuming that it could be a what we call ETS, Educational Transition Service. We're assuming that could be part of the, an activity for pre-eds for your students. And so the presentation, it has three main parts. First of all, we will do what we call a resource fair. And so we have a number of representatives from other agencies like DDSN, who has changed their name to OIDD, the Office of Intellectual and Developmental Disabilities. And so they'll have a representative there explaining or just introducing their services, and also a representative from the South Carolina Vocational Rehabilitation Department introducing their services, and just a variety of service providers who would be able to provide services for people with disabilities. And we feel that part is important for transition age youth because after school, they need to learn who will be there to support them after their IEP team is all gone. And so that is, that's an anxiety provoking idea for a lot of people, that they won't have their IEP team anymore. So we want to introduce them to who will be there for them after high school. And then we do a PowerPoint presentation. Some of the community work incentive coordinators from ABLE South Carolina will present first, and they will talk about information related to Social Security. And so the Work Incentives Program is something where people who get Social Security benefits, they can meet with one of those coordinators to find out how they can manage working and receiving some benefits at the same time. They can learn how to report their wages. They can learn what benefits they can get, or how their benefits might change a little bit if they do start working. And that part of the presentation is done in a fun kind of Mythbusters format. For example, one myth that we hear commonly is for people who have benefits, they might say, "I can't work because I will lose my benefits." And that's not entirely true. Working can affect your benefits, but we don't want people to be afraid to get jobs. And Social Security provides grant funding for us to do this type of education, because Social Security wants people to know as well that they are able to work and manage their benefits at the same time. And I'll talk a little bit about some work incentives. For example, somebody who is working, when they no longer qualify for the full benefit, they can get health coverage for a period of time to help them transition off of benefits and things like that. And so that's that part that ABLE South Carolina will present. And then I will present on overpayments and also educate on what Disability Rights South Carolina can do in regards to that. And so we'll talk about reporting and what options somebody might have if Social Security accidentally pays them too much. It's actually pretty common. There's a number of reasons it can happen, and it also can happen without a reason. And so we are here to help people with disabilities manage the overpayments if they do come across that. And then we do have time at the end. I'm sorry, I forgot something. And the other part that Disability Rights South Carolina can help with is under this same funding, for people with disabilities who are facing a barrier to work, we can help get that sorted out in order for them to work. So, for example, if somebody needs some durable medical equipment from Medicaid in order to be able to go to work, but Medicaid denied that, then we can work and negotiate with Medicaid to get that equipment approved for that person, or maybe it's a medication or something. Another example would be if the person is getting services from the vocational rehabilitation department and there's a discrepancy or something's not going well with their services, we can look into that and try to get those issues sorted out. And so we just try to remove the barriers that are stopping somebody from going to work. And then at the end of the presentation, we have time for questions as well. So that's the main idea. Can I clarify any of that, or go back to any of those points, or answer any questions?
Thank you, Jody. This workshop sounds very comprehensive, and it's not just something you wander in and look around for a couple of minutes and then leave, like an open house or something. It's come, bring your notebook and your pen to take some notes, and plan to be there from 9:30 to 11. Is that correct?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yep.
Great.
Yep.
This is a wonderful opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Very good. Let
Yeah.
me take a quick
And we
look
would
over.
like to.
Go ahead.
We would like to try. Oh, sorry. We would like to try to get some information about how many students do join in. So for example, if a teacher shows this, whole presentation to the class, we probably will just ask as a poll question during the Zoom. We usually use Zoom. And so we'll just put up a poll question, like how many students are watching this from your classroom or something like that.
Oh, cool. Very good. Well, Jody,
That's a
thank you
great
for,
idea.
oh,
That's a great idea for a whole classroom
Yeah.
to watch. Yeah.
Mhm.
it is because it carries
Yeah.
the conversation beyond just that one session.
Mhm.
Jody,
Right.
thank you for joining us today and for struggling through the technology issues that you had. I appreciate that you were persisted through that so that you could share this important information with us.
Yeah, thank you for your help.
All right. And for the folks on the call, that flyer that you just saw up on the screen is in your Google folder, and this QR code or this bit.ly link is how you will find that in your Google folder. Okay, well, let me lose track of myself here.
And I can
Okay.
share my,
Okay,
if you
go
want to
ahead.
share my email address, that's fine. If anybody has questions about registration or anything, there is a registration beforehand. It usually is open until the morning of or something like that. So let's just say the day
Okay.
before.
Okay, that would be great. Do you have, no, you're calling from a phone, so let me type in, what
I
is
just paste I just
oh, go.
pasted it in the chat, Sarah, so we're all
You
good.
did. Lisa, you are on it today. Thank you so much. So, all right. So your Jody, your email address is right over there in the chat then. So very
Great.
good. Thank you again.
Mhm.
Have a great
You're
day.
welcome. All right then. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Okay. Next on our agenda is Albert Roman.
Hello, can you hear me? Okay, give me
Yes.
one moment. Let me see if I can go ahead and share my screen. Okay. And just let me know if you can see my screen there.
Yes, we can.
Okay, cool. All right, so we are excited to roll out the new LEA profiles and determinations. The first year that this is going to be for will be for fiscal year 23, which is for the 23-24 school year. What you're seeing on screen right now should look familiar to you all. It is the profiles and determinations that we send out via ADT for each district. So every year you'll get this report, and it's essentially like your profile or your report card for the year in regards to special education information. And looking at this first page, you'll see that it's basically just your information about what is on this report, as well as the scoring rubrics that are applied. And just wanted to kind of briefly show this information just to get everybody on the same page as to where the I guess the format and the layout of the dashboard originally came from. It is following the same format as the reports that you are going to continue to get every year. I believe it's usually around June. So this is I'm showing Abbeville's information here, not picking on you guys, but just they're always at the top of our lists. So this is just a brief recap of what the information on the LEA profiles and determinations look like. Of course, your profiles have all of your indicator information listed, as well as the targets for the state, where the state fell with those targets, the actual score for the district, and then whether or not you met that status. Your determination is, it's in essence your report card, and we have it based on certain compliance factors in regards to different categories and performance factors for several other categories here. So just a brief recap as to what this information entails. So when it comes to public reporting, we decided to move towards a more intuitive platform, which is where the dashboard comes in. So I kind of like to show how to actually get to the dashboard, but we will be providing the link to the actual dashboard for FY23 in the chat here shortly. But to navigate to the dashboard, it's very easy. From our main page, the OSIS main page, you want to go down to the data section, and then the district LEA profiles and determinations is where you want to go. And here you can access the past 5 years worth of data. The latest one being FY 2023. Which is what is going to bring you over to our new dashboard. All
And
right.
Albert, the link is the Power BI report. It's already in the chat. I think I accidentally put it in there
Oh,
twice. But
okay, perfect.
if anybody
perfect.
wanted to follow along, you could just log into that.
Yes, feel free to follow along, play around with it. You can't break it. But essentially, this is the same information that you just saw on the LEA or on the Excel report that we send out to you guys every year. Basically covering the same information, including the scoring rubrics for compliance and performance, as you can see here. Some additional points, some notes to take note of before actually diving deeper into the information. The profiles can be accessed here now from this top button. This is going to be your navigation pane. So how it works now is that you can actually just select your district from this drop-down list. And again, I'll just use Abbeville since they're always on the top of our list. You can only look at one district at a time here, but you can actually look at 2 different indicators at the same time. So we wanted the ability to kind of show indicators side by side if you really needed to. It's defaulted to show the indicator 1 and 2 next to each other since they're kind of related. But you can actually pick any of the indicators listed as the primary or your secondary. So in this instance, I'll just use indicator 3C ELA 8th grade and 3C ELA high school here for an example. So you can kind of see the 2 indicators side by side. And it'll, again, show you basically the same information that you're seeing on your Excel report, just kind of in a more easy to read and intuitive way. If you hover over the blue bar for your district, you can see a little bit more information, but it's the same information that's actually just being shown on the graph here, where it's showing that information. I'll go ahead and select all of the districts here. So you can actually see all of the districts here side by side here as well. You can feel free to click around on these widgets to kind of increase the size to see kind of a more broader scope of that information. So side-by-side comparison of where the district fell with each indicator, as well as where the state fell for each indicator, giving you the same information as far as the targets, where they met, and basically giving them a status of where if they were met or not met. To the right side here, it'll give you a brief definition of what what the selected indicator is, as a reminder, or if that title is not descriptive enough for you, you can see the definition here next to it. And then, of course, here is just letting you know the target direction of where the score should be in comparison with the target. Some of them should be greater, some of them should be equal or less than. So kind of pay attention to where that falls to kind of make sense of where it should meet and not meet. But essentially, like I said, it's the same information that you're getting already on these reports. It's just in a web application for you to view here in a more intuitive manner. Taking a look at the determinations, it's a little bit more streamlined, kind of looks like a general report card here. Here you can definitely only look at one district at a time here. And again, we have Abbeville as an example, but here let's take a look at Allendale instead. So you can kind of see where your compliance factors are showing, same, and you have your descriptions here for each factor. You'll see the score right next, along with a tallying total, and then what the status of each score means. A performance score is kind of similar, but with your performance factors, you can actually dive deeper into the information. If you would right-click on this information and select to drill through, you can actually see the performance details, which is the detailed view that you would actually see on the previous, on your Excel reports. So by comparison, going back to those Excel reports, here you would see a comparison of your performance factors. Let's go up to graduation here. where you're seeing your score, what it means, your target, your state target, or where the state fell, and then comparing it with the previous year's data. That same information is being shown here with these gauges in a kind of easier to read, more intuitive manner. All right, again, it's showing you your target, where the direction should be with that target, and then where your state performance is calculated, and your LEA prior year and current year performance information. All here in a clean web application. All right, and then here it pretty much just shows your basically your where the determination status was met based on your compliance score, your performance score, your additional points, your total, and then the maximum set for each LEA. Some SOPs or state operated programs, not regular LEAs, they had their maximum score modified in order to represent the populations that they serve. So that percentage is based off of that. And so you'll see some differences with those SOPs if you decide to look at one. But this is public information, so any district can look at any other district. And then you can see their status. The categories section is the last section on the dashboard. And it basically just kind of gives some information as to which districts fell under which categories and the contact information for the director of that district. So districts can contact each other this way. This is also useful for our purposes to get in touch with those districts that fall under the needs assistance or needs intervention categories. All right, so feel free to kind of look around, but this is actually what the determinations profiles information is going to look like from this point forward with these dashboards for each year. So if you have any questions, I can take them now. If anyone has any questions about how to use the dashboard or anything. And if not, you can feel free to reach us at our email address, which is special education. What was it? Let's see. I forgot our email address. It's
I'll stick it in the chat, Albert.
yeah. And we'll definitely feel free to take a look at that and answer any questions that you may have. But that is essentially it, and it's just basically like a higher level preview of how you can see your data in a more intuitive manner. All right, and I think that is it for me. Sarah, if you want to take control of the screen again.
Okay, great. Thank you so much, Albert. Okay. Next up, we'll have Deanna Parrish. So let me just get back to sharing my screen.
Thanks, Sarah. I'm here
You're
and I'm
welcome.
excited to welcome everyone to a new school year. I hope it started off well for those of you who have invited kids back, and for those who are looking for them to come back soon. I hope things are going well for your preparations. The Academic Alliance is very excited to be here to support and partner with you in any way throughout the year. So we wanted to highlight a few things as you're looking at the beginning of the school year opportunities. So Sarah, if you could go forward. I'm not sure I can advance the slides. Thank you. For those of you who attended our summer university sessions, the follow-up with the presenters has been scheduled. These are for all the sessions. So if you attended an elementary reading or a secondary reading, everything is currently scheduled. The document is linked here, as well as the QR code. So if you'd like to attend and talk to those expert presenters again as you begin implementation and have any follow-up questions, this year they're going to do just a short didactic before getting into some discussions. So please check out that schedule and sign up to attend and participate during those follow-ups as you're working with those new strategies and skills you learned this summer. We can move on. Okay. Our first evidence-based practice network of the fall will be on the 20th of the month, and it'll focus on looking at that critical content. So our evidence-based practices network this year is really centered around explicit instruction. And so this is looking at focusing on that critical content. So aligning IEP goals to standards and choosing priorities for students with mild disabilities. So please sign up and join us for the first one of our series on August 20th. Registration information is linked here. And then this year, we are expanding our MTSS series not to be just a one-time event, but to be an event that is hosted over the entire year with different topics each month. So if you're interested in learning more about it, this is the sign up to get information when the sessions are opened. But right now, I wanted to give you a quick preview of what's coming up because we have one in September. So Sarah, if you'll go one more slide. The first one is coming up will be on UDL. We have a lot of districts who requested more information on Universal Design for Learning. So that's going to be the first up in our series on September 10th at R2I2. Then in October, back by popular demand, is Dr. Paul Riccomini, who will be working on math. And then in November, we're going to do database decision making. So progress monitoring with Dr. Judy Elliott. The session registration is open now for UDL, and on the next slide, you will see the registration link for that. So, yeah, please sign up, bring your team, share with your general education friends. We'd love to have everybody attend our first session on the 10th. Yep. Oh, and we put together some back to school resources to share with everyone. So information from Academic Alliance that supports teachers, administrators, instruction in reading, writing, and math, and upcoming events. So please take a look at this flyer, share it with those that you think may need some of these back to school resources. And I think maybe my last one is just a reminder to sign up for our newsletter to get any updates on events that we may be having and any new resources that we're publishing on our website. Have a great social media presence to remind you of things too. If you participate in any of these, follow us. And I think that's all. Thank you, Sarah.
Thank you, Deanna. Melissa, you are up next.
Thanks, Sarah. Well, I want to echo what Deanna had said about welcoming everybody back to the school year. If you're like me, we squeezed the last bit of summer out this weekend at the pool, but we are excited to get back to working with districts to increase evidence-based practices in their preschool classrooms. So we wanted to highlight a couple things that we are doing here at Skippy. One of those being a professional learning 5-part series. It's brought to you by BASC, the Behavior Alliance, and together with SC Teams. So Ask, Skippy, and Task will be participating in this. Registration is still open, although we start next week. So if that's something you would be interested in, please go ahead and register for that. I will drop that link in the chat. And then if you will go to the next slide, thank you. Our Early Childhood Inclusion Conference is coming up soon, faster than we, expect. So September 25th, 2025 at R2I2 in Columbia. Our theme will be Keys to Unlocking Potential, and our keynote speaker is Kimberly Tussaud from ABLE. Registration is now open, as well as we have our full schedule with details available on the website. I will put that in the chat as well. And then just keeping in mind to go ahead and register online as registration won't be available on the site. So we will put that one in the chat as well. Our evidence-based practice and action back to preschool. So this is an excellent beginning of the year module to help teachers, assistants, administrators work on designing their classroom for success, creating daily schedules and routines, and making connections with families, children, and colleagues. So these are Canvas modules that are asynchronous, and you can do them on your own time. frame, but if you would like access to that, you can click or use the QR to register. I'll also, when I'm done talking, put all of these links into the chat. And then if you'll go to the next slide. The Growing Strong District Distinction Award is something that we will be introducing this year at our Early Childhood Inclusion Conference. So we would like to recognize school districts who have demonstrated commitment and passion for building strong foundations to improve outcomes for children and families in our state. And so we are accepting nominations for that. It is a self-nomination, and you would just answer some questions about what you are doing currently in your district to improve outcomes. And so we would love to have some nominees. Cheer yourself on. Sometimes we can be a little more humble than we need to be. So cheer yourself on for all the hard work that you've done. And that award will be recognized at our conference in September. And then finally, we have our webinar for the Early Childhood Performance Factor. As you know, that is changing this year. And so we did kind of a deep dive into looking at the indicators, diving into data and talking about strategies to improve district performance. And so that's a recorded webinar. And then we also will have coming up a professional learning series dedicated to that as well. So keep your eyes open for that. And I believe that is all for today. Thank you.
Thank you, Melissa. Okay, next up we have Basque, and they sent us, if you give me just a moment, they sent us a link to listen to it on YouTube. Can you hear that, or did I not include the sound?
No sound, Sarah.
Okay, thank you. Share sound. There we go. Okay.
August. Our newsletter this month will feature starting the school year off right, creating a classroom teaching matrix using our self-paced module to guide you, and an introduction to the Behavior Alliance team as we have some additions this year. We'll have some additional resources to add to your toolkit, and there'll be more coming soon. Please make sure that you are subscribed to our mailing list. There's a QR code there, or you can go to behavioralliance.org/subscribe, and that you're following us on our social media channels, Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube at Basque Behavior. Upcoming events this month, August 5th from 12 to 1 p.m., we have Supporting Teacher Prep Programs and Overview for Faculty and Staff. This is hosted by the Behavior Alliance. August 5th from 1 to 2 p.m., How to Structure MTSS Teams for Better Student Outcomes, Collaboration, Action, and Accountability from edweb.net. August 12th from 12 to 2:30 p.m., Aligning Behavioral Threat Assessment and Management with a Multi-Tiered System of Support, Building a Continuum of Prevention and Intervention, hosted by NTAC and the Center on PBIS. August 21st from 12 to 1:30 p.m. is the monthly high school think tank hosted by the high school APBS. And September 25th from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. the South Carolina Early Childhood Inclusion Conference, Keys to Unlocking Potential, is hosted in Columbia, South Carolina. You can register now for that event. For all of these events and more, visit behavioralliance.org/events for more information and directions on how to register for each of these opportunities. Some resources to highlight for the month of August. Start the school year off right, create a classroom teaching matrix. This will be highlighted in our monthly newsletter and on our social media posts. We have a self-paced learning module that is completely free that can guide you through this process. And our second resource is Read, Writing, and AI, a parent's guide to smarter learning tools by the Bridging App teams. You can visit behavioralliance.org/asynchronous to access all of our free self-paced learning opportunities, and additional tools can be found in our resource library at behavioralliance.org/resources. Please take a look at our Back to School Echo series. Registration is open now. The theme is Foundations for Success, launching the school year with high impact proactive behavior practices. This is in collaboration with SC Teams, Tasks, Skippy, Ask, and the Behavior Alliance. This begins Tuesdays, August 12th from 12:30 to 1:30, and every Tuesday for 5 Tuesdays until September 9th. You can visit behavioralliance.org/echo to learn more and register. And finally, additional updates. We have some new members of the team. We have a PhD student, Laura, 2 UPIC interns, Madeline and Ellie, and a new graduate assistant, Delaney. You can learn more about them in our upcoming newsletters. And that is all. Please be sure to visit behavioralliance.org for more information. And as I mentioned, be sure that you're following our social media platforms to receive updates and information about the Behavior Alliance. Thank you and have a great day.
Okay. Now let's see, back to our.
The people immediately around Trump are trying to grab as much as they can as quickly
Is
as
that
they
my
can.
YouTube?
So you're seeing, for
I'm
example,
sorry.
The things I've talked about in the past,
Where's that coming
the ICE
from?
ramping things up, the
Okay. Goodness gracious. All right. This is just a slide reminding people about the, hang on as soon as I get to it here, multi-district agreements. Here we go. So here's the link. If you have a student that you cannot educate in your own district due to these reasons, because there are insufficient numbers of children with disabilities to provide an appropriate program, then you can contract with another LEA. And there's more to this law than just these 2 bullet points, but you can find that at this application link. So there's more in here. You don't have to fill it out just to find out what it says. You can go in there and read that. Just to let you know, I guess when I set this up a year ago, I only put the calendar invites out for 1 year, and someone brought that to my attention. Thank you very much. And so I'm going to fix that after this meeting. I didn't want to do it without giving you a heads up. It's an easy fix. I just have to remove the end date, but then what'll happen is you'll get a notification saying that I've updated the calendar invite. So I just wanted to give you a heads up that will happen this afternoon. Our next meeting is August 19th, and we'll be talking about deaf and hard of hearing services for early childhood. Our guests will include representatives from South Carolina Hands and Voices, Beginnings South Carolina, and the South Carolina School for the Deaf and the Blind. We thank you for joining us today and taking your time to be with us. Have a great afternoon.